Hi everyone, Dave here, and as you can see I've got the Christmas tree behind me, so hopefully a bit more of an interesting background for you today. Okay, so I just thought I would talk a little bit about my perception of what the public opinion may be at the moment with regard to the COVID-19 situation and how it is affecting society. So I can certainly detect two overriding feelings. Obviously, this is just my opinion. The first one is there's a little bit of, I wouldn't describe it as excitement, but maybe anticipation, mild anticipation, because Christmas is coming up. We've seen a lot of people are like us. We've put our decorations up early for the feel-good factor, really. I think that's what it is. It gives people something to do, something to look forward to, and it's nice. And it's a focal point. So I think people are looking forward to Christmas this year, even though there's still some uncertainty about what shape that's going to take. Whether pubs and restaurants will still be open then, after the second review coming on the 16th of December. And I think the other thing is, obviously people are looking forward to, well, those lucky enough to live in areas that aren't in tier 3. So for example, myself, our area is going into tier 2. That is a mild, and I say mild, relaxation of regulations and rules. So there's probably a little bit of, people looking forward to that as well. That's the first feeling that I seem to be able to detect. But the second one is this constant undercurrent of fear and uncertainty that is actually going alongside. I think that the first emotion is very much going to be a fleeting and temporary one as we enter December and as we get closer to Christmas. But I think people are dreading what January may bring. And I'm not particularly looking forward to it as well. So, without wanting to get negative, this is simply just an acknowledgement of how I think the public now is starting to turn in significant numbers. Or maybe not turn full circle, but really waking up and starting to ask some questions that, to be fair, they should have asked months ago, but better late than never. And it's interesting to watch this play out. I really do think now that in increasing numbers, the population, and I'm sure this is going on right across the world, not just in the UK, is beginning to understand that they've been subjected to a horrendous and astronomical lie. And when I say a horrendous and astronomical lie, I'm not talking about, I'm not denying, and I've said this many times before, I'm not denying the existence of this virus. I'm really not. And I heart goes out to anybody who suffered as a result of it. The lie that I'm talking about is the lie that says that COVID-19 must be focused on above everything else. The COVID-19 means that the NHS must shut to a large degree, shut its services to individuals who aren't suffering from COVID-19. The lie that says that routine operations must be cancelled, that cancer screenings must be stopped, and in many cases cancer treatments must be stopped. The lie that says that the economy must be utterly decimated and plunged into debt so scary that it's not even worth considering at this point. The lie that says that society must be atomized to such a degree that we end up with an epidemic of loneliness, terrible mental health, and suicides. The lie that says that children must be constantly fed this drip feed of fear and propaganda all the time. The lie that says that old people must be isolated and not allowed to have any visitors. You know, the lie that says that people are not allowed all family and friends at funerals and that social distancing has to take place. The lie that says that people aren't free to pursue leisure activities such as going to the theatre, to the pub, to the restaurant, to a football match. The lie that says that this virus justifies the destruction of millions of jobs and millions of small businesses. The lie that says that this virus justifies millions and millions of people being plunged into terrible hardship, hunger, and suffering. And the lie that says we end up with a society that is hideously unfair. The lie that says that all NHS staff are heroes. And the lie that refuses to acknowledge all of the people throughout this who have just carried on without fuss, without making any fuss at all, to keep this country going and haven't been recognised for it. That lie is because those people they're expendable and they're disposable. Unlike the NHS, which as ever is politicised. It's the lie that says that the NHS can't cope. It did cope and it continues to cope. This year has been one of utterly terrible, terrible lies. It's the lie that says 1/6 of the NHS budget is spent on a flawed and corrupted track and trace scheme. That in effect is just another arm of government blackmail. Get tested and we will consider giving you some freedoms back, as we've seen in Liverpool. Another lie. What's gone on in Liverpool? Liverpool will be in tier 3 were it not for the mass testing. What in effect has happened has the people in Liverpool have agreed to negotiate their freedom with the government. That's what that is. Not good. Not good. So, those lies are so big and so destructive, but have been underpinned and driven by such expert propaganda that I would say most people were taken in. Some continue to be. I was taken in 100%. I remember at the start of this, I'm not even going to call it a pandemic because let's not forget, if you're not aware of this, the government declassified COVID-19 to a non-high consequence infectious disease. And do you know when they did that? On the 19th of March, 4 days before the first lockdown, a non-high consequence infectious disease. Non-high consequence infectious disease. Is that a pandemic? I was taken in at the start. I was holding my breath when I walked past people on the street. I was fastidiously washing my hands every 10 seconds. I was washing the shopping. I was wary about going near anybody until I decided to open my mind, to look at statistics, to observe what was going on around me, and to feel and to start imparting my own judgment on things. And it's then that I began to realise that something wasn't right. And since then, it's become clearer and clearer and clearer to me that this is clearly not about controlling a virus, as ridiculous as a concept as that is, by the way. And a lot of people are at that stage now, the questioning stage. I was out in the front garden yesterday doing some work, and I spoke to a few people walking past. It was very interesting talking to them. It's the best way to get a feel for public opinion, is just to speak to strangers and see where the conversation goes. It's good representation of maybe what the wider feeling is. And whilst I think there is certainly some level of fear to a degree around a virus, I think it's waning rapidly, and that fear is now being replaced by a fear regarding the state of the economy and the state of society and the state of people's mental health. And to watch people and to talk to them and to see them start thinking it through and challenge what they're being told is an interesting experience. It's still frustrating for me because they're not quite as far along as I would like them to be. And I'm not saying that I'm right, and I say this all the time. I'm not saying I'm right. It's a matter of proportion. I.e., do these effects that are playing out across society, are they justified? And to see people starting to compare what we were told with actually what's going on, and whether it is in proportion, whether things have completely been skewed out of perspective, that's where people are at the moment. You've also got, and this is what really, really perturbs me and upsets me and angers me. The lockdown is a middle class luxury, a middle class endeavour. Let's be honest, it is. Whilst you've had people cracking on since the very start, and let's talk about those people. The police, for example. Have we heard anything in the media about the police? We've heard enough about the NHS and how they're just, they're heroes and they're dealing with the disease. What about the police who are just carrying on? They've carried on since the start. Delivery drivers, people working in fast food chains and in supermarkets, postmen, lorry drivers. The list goes on and on and on of people who haven't been given any exposure. You don't know about them. They've just carried on. In my job at the moment, social distancing is impossible. And I mean, it is impossible. There is no social distancing. It's just the way it is. There's no space to social distance. Are people complaining, moaning about staying safe? No. They're not. They're just carrying on, getting paid minimum wage and carrying on. And that's been going on. And that's not what the media is reflecting at all. I think the media has preferred to focus on public sector, mainly NHS, many of whom are on much better wages than a lot of the people who are suffering at the moment. And what picture is being painted of the NHS? One where they are saints, they're heroes, and they cannot be criticised. What loads of absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. You've also, I'm detecting, many of the lockdown advocates are the ones who, they don't have enough skin in the game. Probably mainly public sector, working from home, getting paid full amount of salary, able to pay the mortgage. I'm all right, Jack. I don't need to worry about what's going on outside these four walls. And yeah, I'm okay. That is an angle to this that I don't like. The pretty high prevalence, I think, of people who don't care what else is going on in society because they're okay. That's not good enough, really, is it? And we've ended up with this hideously unfair. Life is unfair, always has been, and that's fine. But things are hideously unfair at the moment. Absolutely hideously unfair. How is it fair for some people to have their wages subsidised 100% while other people who've worked their rocks off to build up their small businesses are being told not only that they can't open and they can't serve their customers, but they're not entitled anymore to any financial support? How is that fair? Someone tell me, how's that fair? It's not fair, is it? I don't like it. And I do see that. It's okay, isn't it, to stay at home and preach about staying safe and being unselfish, go out and wear the mask. Well, mark my words, if those people didn't have money coming in, they'd soon change their mind. So yeah, lockdown is an endeavour of the middle classes. You know, probably the public sector middle classes. So what I want to say though is that there is the possibility of unity emerging here going forward in the next few months. And this is what I want to try to attach my optimism to, is as more and more people realise that they've been lied to, then a real powerful unity could then emerge. We did have a brief unity at the start of all this, but it was built, as we now know, on a lie. And that unity quickly disappeared. But the more people talk and the more people unite around one concept, and that concept is freedom. It doesn't matter what else you believe in. If people can unite around freedom, that is powerful. That will be exceptionally powerful and will spread positive vibes through society. The other way it could go is, as more and more people lose their jobs, you could potentially, and it will only take a trigger, end up with something close to anarchy, even in the UK. And I really don't want it to go down that route, which is why I've been such an advocate for talking and conversing and exchanging ideas and talking openly about this subject since the start, in order to open our minds, broaden our minds, consider that the story that we've been told by the media has been a lie. Because if it suddenly flips, if you suddenly have enough people who have nothing to lose, who are in such financial hardship, then anything could happen, and we don't want to get to that point. So here's my message, just to finish off this video. If you're watching this and there's anything at all that in your gut that says this isn't right, there's something terrible going on here, none of this is justified, consider that your gut instinct is correct. Consider that the government isn't looking out for the health of its citizens, but has an alternative agenda. Consider that the media's propaganda is exactly that, is propaganda designed to manipulate and to inform thoughts and behaviour. And be brave enough to go against maybe what other people in your family think, what your friends think, and take a stand. Open up the conversation, challenge, do what's right, do what feels right for you. That's my message. I'm starting to see it really happen. And if we can get more of an outward and overt expression of that feeling, it could be powerful as that feeling starts to become represented more in the media and now in Parliament as well, which it is. Then things may start to change as the government realises it simply will become untenable to carry on with these restrictions. So yes, very, very unfair country at the moment. There's people who have taken a lot of unnecessary credit, and there's people who have been doing a lot who haven't had any credit. The media coverage has been exceptionally unfair. The way that the effects are played out on society have been cruel to so many people, whereas other people have won. Let's see what people are made of now. You know, let's see what people are made of. Let's speak out. Let's take the government on here in a positive and peaceful way. Okay, I think that's my message today. I will speak to you all soon. Bye bye.